Let's give somebody else a big hug if you hadn't sat down yet. If you already sat down, you can stay seated. All right. How y'all doing tonight? Why is the whole front row up here empty? Huh? Because no, that's okay. I'm not scolding anybody. It was just funny because earlier it was like people there, and now there's nobody there. You could go sit back there if you want to. It doesn't matter. Oh, man. How are y'all? Good? How many of you came to feed the owls on Sunday night? We estimate that about 250 people came through here on Sunday evening. What a privilege to feed the owls and feed all the mouths that came through. It was great. And, man, just glad you're here tonight. Welcome to Encounter Night. I know I see some friendly new faces, so if this is your first time, a very special welcome to you. We would love to get to know you better. And if you're wondering, we do, and we have a prayer meeting every Wednesday night at 7:30, every Wednesday night. But the first Wednesday night of the month, of each month, is this. It's Encounter Night, and it's just a special time, kind of like a revival service. So we're glad you guys joined us, and I want to just go right into the Word right now. So if you're ready, is anybody? I was going to say if you're ready. Is everybody ready? And I tried to say both at the same time. Is everybody ready tonight for the Word? I was going to say, is everybody ready for the Word tonight? Yes. If you're ready, then give me an owl hoot. All right. We're still on the Feed the Owls high. You know, that was such a good time. All right. Come on, say this with me. How He loves. How He loves. Come on, tell your neighbor how He loves you. Tonight I'm going to follow up on, how many of you were actually here this Sunday for service, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock our service? Several of you were here for this Sunday service. So some of what I'm going to say tonight will sound like a repeat. More than anything, I'm just going to review that because what I want to do is follow up on this past Sunday's message. And if you were, a lot of you were here Sunday night. What was Sunday morning? What was the message? Your house for supper, right? Your house for supper. And we talked about Jesus when He encountered Zacchaeus. Why don't we go there tonight? I'm just going to read through it again quickly. Luke 19, 1 through 10. And this is not our main point tonight, but I want to go back over this because I want you to see something. And as we get ready to read it, don't you say it one more time. How He loves. Luke 19, 1 through 10. Jesus entered Jericho and made His way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus, right? And he was a what? A chief tax collector in the region. He'd become very rich. And again, if you were here Sunday, he was a loser, right? Most people didn't like Zacchaeus because he was a thief, because he was a corrupt thief. He had robbed many people, right? And he'd become rich by stealing from people. He tried to get a look at Jesus, verse 3. But he was too short to see over the crowd. And Sunday we talked about this, that Zacchaeus' problem wasn't that he was short, right? A lot of people think Zacchaeus' problem was that he was short. He couldn't see Jesus because he was short, right? How many of us have actually maybe even heard a message about Zacchaeus being short? Yeah, me too. All right. I've talked about Zacchaeus being short too. It doesn't really say that he was that short. I mean, he might have been short, like I'm short. But the point is that there was a lot of people in the way, and he couldn't see through them. There was a big crowd, and he wasn't Jonathan. He wasn't 6'4" or something and could see over everybody. He was probably a short guy or a normal-sized guy, and he couldn't see past the crowd, okay? And it says, so he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road. For Jesus was going to pass that way, and when Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. In the whole crowd, Jesus called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. And then, what? Your house for supper, right? I'm going to be a guest at your house today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. But the people were displeased. He's going to be the guest of a notorious sinner. they grumbled. This is going to make more sense here in a minute. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I give half my wealth to the poor, Lord, and if I've cheated people on their taxes, I'll give them back 4 times as much. And we learned that Zacchaeus went from being the big loser that everybody hated to becoming probably a pretty lovable guy if he gave you back 4 times as much money that he stole from you, right? What had been a curse became a big blessing through Zacchaeus, right? That's what happens when you find Jesus. Your life changes, and it makes a big difference in the world around you. Okay? And Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. And then the verse that's the most important of this story. For the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. Jesus came to seek and save that which had been lost. And what had been lost? Us. We had been lost because of sin, okay? And we learned through this story that Jesus is the ultimate seeker, right? Sometimes we look at ourselves like, I'm seeking God. But in reality, God is seeking you. And Jesus demonstrated this by coming from heaven, being God himself, coming into a human body, being born of the Virgin Mary, and lived a life just like you and like I, right? Jesus came to look for us, to look for what had been lost. Now, why had we been lost? What got us lost? Sin, our disobedience to God, right? God had created us. God created us for a relationship with him. But because we all decided to go our own way and do our own thing, we call that what? You guys all right tonight? We call that sin, right? And what does sin do? Sin separates us from God. That's what got us lost. And the Bible says that we all, like sheep, have gone astray. We just went our own way and did our own thing, and we were just lost out there. And that Jesus came to look for us and find us and save us, right? And why is he saying this? Because that's exactly what he was doing here with Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was lost. Zacchaeus was lost in his relationship with God. Zacchaeus was far away from God because he was a sinner, right? And people didn't like the fact that Jesus was associating with Zacchaeus. But Jesus was only doing what he came to do. There was another time that people got mad with Jesus, and he said, so here it is. People that are well don't need a doctor, right? I mean, how many of us are well tonight? Probably not going to go to the doctor, probably not going to go to urgent care tonight because you're well, right? Why would you go to the hospital, to the emergency room? Because all of a sudden you get sick, right? And Jesus said, people that are well don't need a doctor, the sick need a doctor. I didn't come for those who, listen, important, who think they're okay. I didn't come for those who think they're righteous, but for those who know that they're sinners. I came to look for you until I find you, and when I find you, I'm going to rescue you. And that's what he did with Zacchaeus, and that brings us to our main story tonight. We're going to backtrack a few chapters back to Luke 15, and I want to tie this into Zacchaeus' story. Luke 15, we're going to read 1 through 7. This first part is going to sound very familiar. Tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. Now, I want to pause and I want to get everybody's attention, all right? You guys all awake in here? Punch your neighbor, make sure they're awake. All right? Come on. I want you to think of a notorious. What does it mean to be notorious? Famous, right? Or in this case, infamous, right? A notorious. I want you to think of a notorious sinner right now. You don't have to shout out their name or anything, but somebody you know they're bad. Bad, right? And some of us are like, right? Paul understood this very well. The Apostle Paul, he said, I am the chief of sinners. If there's bad people, I'm the baddest, right? I'm the worst of them all. But I just want you to think, we're not talking about people that were just kind of like your normal run-of-the-mill, I do a little bit bad things here and there. No, notorious sinners. They were known for being bad. Did you think of somebody yet? Did you? This made the Pharisees and teachers of the religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people. And here, even eating with them. We'll talk about that there in a minute, but he didn't just pass them by in the crowd. He went and ate with them like Zacchaeus. He went into their house and ate with them. He showed them friendship. He showed them acceptance. Never once did he show acceptance for what they were doing, but he always showed acceptance for who they were. And this made people mad. So Jesus told them this story. If a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what'll he do? He'll go find the one. Like I've heard many of you say, won't he do it? Look at the next phrase. Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go search for the one that's lost until he finds it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he will? Yes, he will. All right. Won't he? Jesus is saying, listen, you got to get something. We're talking about bad folks. Now, don't excuse yourself and say, I'm not one of them. Look at your life for real. You may not be as bad as the person sitting next to you. You might not think. Look at your heart. Look at your past. Look at what you've done. There's none of us that's been good. Okay? And these guys, these people, they had not understood that. They thought they were good. They thought that because they were trying to do everything right, that they were good, and they were overlooking the fact that they had also sinned. Careful. Very careful. That's called religion. And that'll mess you up worse than any other sin. Okay? He said, if a man has 100 sheep and one gets lost, what'll he do? He's going to leave behind the 99 others in the wilderness and go search. What's he going to do? Search, right? Another way to say seek. He's going to look for, okay? For the one that's lost until he what? Until he finds it. And when he's found it, he will what? Joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. It doesn't say he'll go find it and why did you get lost? What are you doing out here? Look what you've done to yourself. No, he says he'll pick it up, put it on his shoulders, and joyfully. I want you to just show me joy. Joyfully, happy, like you're going to a party, right? Where there's going to be lots of food and lots of fun and lots of friends and just good. Yeah, that's a great one. All right. Joyfully put it on his shoulders. When he arrives, he'll call together his friends and neighbors saying, rejoice with me because I found my lost sheep. In the same way, there's more joy in heaven. You probably heard this before, but I want you to hear it tonight for real. There's more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over the 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. Won't he do it? He'll do it. He really will do it. All right, let me tell you some things tonight. Is it okay if I just kind of talk to you from this? I just like to look at the word and just say, look, this is what I see in there, okay? And it helps me a lot. I think it'll help you. You guys ready? Yeah. All right, are you sure everybody's still awake? Pizza kind of got heavy in there. And all right. If you start to fall asleep, go grab some coffee there in the back. Listen, Jesus' goal is relationship and not religion. That's why he ate with sinners instead of just preaching to them. Jesus taught the crowds, right? But he did more than that. He didn't just preach to people the truth. He ate with them. He went home with them. He associated with them. Now, does it say he did what they did? Does it say he liked what they did? Does it say he approved of what they did? No. He just loved them for who they were. See, if Jesus' goal were just to get a sinner to believe in him, the message itself would be enough. But it's not. That's not his goal. His goal isn't just to get you converted and to become a good person. His goal is to invite you and bring you into a personal, intimate, real relationship with him. He's not interested in you sitting in the church chair. He's interested in coming and sitting in your chair at your house with you. Jesus didn't just preach to people. He ate with them, and that made some people mad. Now, Jesus' goal wasn't to leave people as sinners. I mean, we just read the story of Zacchaeus. What happened to Zacchaeus when Jesus went home with him? Everything changed. He went from being this corrupt thief to this generous person giving back everything he'd stolen 4 times. Jesus doesn't come into your life and leave you the same. He does change you. But his goal is not just to change you. His goal is to get you to know him. Are we getting that tonight? Jesus was not like the rest of the religious teachers of his day. They stood up in front of a crowd, they delivered their message, and they went home, and that was it, and they only associated with people that were like them. Jesus stood in front of the crowds and the thousands. He healed their sick. He raised their dead. He cleansed their leprosy, which was kind of a nasty thing, and people wouldn't even get close to them. He caused the cripple to walk. He fed them when they were hungry, and he went home and ate supper with them. Relationship is Jesus' goal. Now, let's keep looking at this. It doesn't matter how this sheep got lost. I want you to think about that. It doesn't say how he got lost. It just says a man had 100 sheep and one of them was lost. It doesn't matter if he got lost because he intentionally left the flock. It doesn't matter if he got lost because somebody tricked him into leaving the flock. It doesn't matter if he got lost because maybe fell into a trap that a hunter had set or whatever. People didn't really hunt sheep, but you know what I mean. He fallen into a hole or something. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if he was just not paying attention and he just kind of wandered off like, sheep tend to do. Right? It was like, like squirrel. No, that would be a dog, right? Well, I mean, I don't know. What grass, green grass, over here. It might have been grass. Y'all be careful. All right. Some of y'all just got that. All right. The point is, listen, it doesn't matter how the sheep got lost, and it doesn't matter how you and I got lost, and it doesn't matter why lost people are lost. It doesn't matter. Careful. Listen, I want to speak specifically to those, you're a Christian, you're following Jesus, and you look at people that are lost in the world, and you think, well, they're lost because of that. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter they're lost because they intentionally left Jesus. So what? The point is they're lost, and they need to come home, period. And if you are lost, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you got lost because you got tricked by the devil. It doesn't matter if you got lost because you intentionally abandoned your relationship with God. It doesn't matter if you got lost because you were just kind of wandering around and you just kind of lost your way. The point is not why the sheep got lost. The point was that the shepherd went and found it and brought it home. Careful with the way you look at people. Very careful. It doesn't matter how they get lost. What matters is they come back home. And if you're lost tonight, don't think Jesus is looking at you and like, you got lost because of that. He looks way past the reason, and he just comes to get you. Okay? How he loves us. What else do I learn from this story? Every individual person is highly valuable to God. Yes, do not mistake or misunderstand. He loves the crowd. He loves the 100 sheep. It wasn't that this one lost sheep was more important than the other 99. He loves every single one. That's how he can love the crowd. And I don't know if that made sense, so I'm going to try to say it again. Does he love the crowd of 100? Why? Because every He loves every single individual one of that crowd. Never feel like you're just part of the crowd. You are part of the crowd, and God knows you and loves you individually. See, if God just loved a crowd of people, well, if one or two just kind of got a little bit lost, maybe he wouldn't go to so much trouble. But the reality is, he loves each and every individual. So when someone gets lost, he goes after them. Come on, just say this. I am loved. Don't misunderstand this. He was not abandoning the 99. I mean, I've read through this. I'll just be real honest. I've read through this many times. And there have been times I've read it and I felt kind of like, well, what about it? I mean, what is he saying? Like, this one's more important than them? That's not what he's saying. The point is, the 99 are already very well taken care of. He didn't abandon them to their fate. He knew in this story, the 99, they're okay. They're safe. They're good, okay? It wasn't a disdain of the 99 because the one was important. No, he wanted all 100 again because each one of them was important. And if it would have been this one or that one or the other one over here, it didn't matter which one of the 100 got lost. The point was he loved them all, so when one got lost, he had to go get him and bring him back. So don't ever feel like, well, you know, I've been a Christian for a while now, so God, I must not be that important to God because I'm one of the 99. God's paying attention to the one that gets lost out there, so, you know, maybe one day he'll pay attention to me. No. He's already paid every bit of attention to you. His eyes are on you all the time. God has the ability to go after one while keeping his eye on you. God has the ability to seek and search for and find one that gets lost while never taking his hand and his care off of your life. So don't ever feel unimportant, no matter where you are in your life, in your relationship with God. And then I really love it says, won't he leave the 99 in the wilderness and go search for the one until he finds it? And when he has found it, he'll rejoice. Not if he finds it. When he finds it. Listen, it doesn't matter where you are or where you've been. He can find you. There is nowhere you can. It's not a matter of if he can find people. It's not a matter if he can find you where you are in whatever circumstances you're living. He will find you. Will you let him pick you up and put you on his shoulder and take you back home? He knows you. Come on, some of you in here need to hear this tonight. I want you to listen to me. He knows you, and he knows where to find you. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you're doing. He knows exactly the mess you've gotten yourself into, and he will find you. He'll find you. Stop making it harder. Just let him find you. Somebody needed to hear that. Let him find you. Stop trying to hide. He's going to get in there anyway. I'm going to go over here in this deep, dark corner and pretend like everything's okay so he won't pay that. No. He's already in the corner waiting. He'll find you. He'll find you. You know what else I love about this? The shepherd could have said, silly sheep, hope he finds his way back. Isn't it good that God doesn't do that? Silly hunter. Stupid would be a better word for me a lot of times. He doesn't wait for us to try to find our way back. He goes after us. I love that. I love that about God's heart. And not only that, but he doesn't expect you to find your way back and know how to get back. That's why it says he picked the sheep up and put it on his shoulder and carried it back. Some of us are trying, okay, I know I've gone astray, I've gone the wrong way, I messed up, I gotta find my way back. No. Listen, just give up. Just let him pick you up. You can't do it. You messed yourself up. We've all done it. We've all been there. Just let him pick you up. Just surrender. Just give it all up. Let him put you on his shoulder and let him carry you back. He knows the way back. He knows the way back. You know what else? He's not mad with you. He's not mad with you. God is not mad with you. God's heart breaks for you. There's a very big difference. When we go astray, when we mess up, when we get away from him, his heart breaks for us because he made us to love us. He made us to be in a loving relationship with him. He's not mad with you, but his heart does break for you until you're back home where you need to be. Somebody needed to hear that too. He's not mad with you. On the contrary, he finds joy in you. I mean, what does it say happened when he finally found the sheep? He didn't just put him on his shoulder and go back. How did he go? With joy and excitement, right? He was excited. He was happy. I think sometimes we don't see a relationship with God like this. You bring joy to God. His heart breaks when you're far from him. And when you're close to him, you bring him great joy. God doesn't just love you, he likes you. Maybe a lot of people don't like you. Maybe you've given many reasons for people not to like you. But God likes you. He finds joy in relationship with you. And there's so much joy. We see this. It talks about joy in heaven. Joy, 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 joy when lost people get found. Listen, it says that that's the greatest joy in heaven. It's hard for me to say what I'm trying to say. God rejoices. He loves it when we're praising him and worshiping him, and we come in here and we sing and we clap and we have a good time and we love him. Yeah. Okay, but let me tell you something that brings even greater joy to God's heart and greater joy to heaven. When one person who was lost turns their back on the world and turns their heart over to him, it's a party in heaven. It's a big party in heaven. And then it happens to bring us a lot of joy too. So, just saying. If you want a church that's all about me, yay, great praise and worship and woo, great word and all that kind of stuff, and we have a good time, and we do all of that. But listen, if people aren't getting saved, what are we doing? If Jesus came to seek and save the lost, so if we're not seeing that happen, I ain't happy. How about you? I mean, I'm very happy that I have a relationship with him. I'm very happy that I was lost and I'm not anymore. But let me tell you what brings me great joy as a pastor and us as a church is when a person who's far away comes close. When a person who is separated from God comes into relationship with God. When a person was bound up and messed up and on their way to hell gets set free and healed and gets on their way to heaven. That is happy. That is happy. because that's what Jesus came to do. So tonight, RJ, you can come on back. I want you to hear this with your heart, okay? If you are one of the 99, make sure you have a right perspective. You already have all of his love. You already have all of his blessings. You already have all of his promises. So let your heart burn with passion for those that are not in the 99. If you're okay tonight, if you're good with your relationship with the Lord, well, good. That's awesome. You've got it made. So let your heart burn with what burns in the shepherd's heart. And that is those that aren't yet here. They're not in the flock yet. They're not in the family yet. They're lost and they need somebody to go get them. Okay? Become like the shepherd. And if you're the one, well, let him carry you back home today. I'm going to stand up.